In this video, I'm going to be mending a hole on the inseam of a pair of running shorts. This particular pair of shorts is made from a very lightweight woven fabric. The seams are serged with a very narrow seam allowance. This means there isn't a lot of fabric to work with. And when I try to overlap the fabric to be able to have something to sew back together, there isn't any fabric there to overlap. So if I do overlap it, it changes the fullness and the fit of the garment. So what I did to start this repair was to bring the edges of the fabric together as close as I could, and I hand stitched this into place. This stitching is not strong, durable repair, but what it did was it helped the fabric lie flat and stay in place and aligned. This stitching was basically an alternative to using a whole bunch of pins. It kept the fabric together while I was working with it. And I needed to reinforce the entire seam because as I looked at it, there were several other places that had a little bit of fraying and some weak spots, and they weren't going to be holding up long term. I happened to have a fabric that was close in color and weight, so it was light and flexible, and I cut out an 1.5 inch strip the length of the inseam. I pinned this strip to the inseam on the inside of the garment. I used the cover stitch machine to sew this strip into place. The cover stitch gives a twin needle on one side and like a web of stitching on the other side. It's commonly used for hems and other applications on commercial garment construction. Here I started stitching right over the inseam with the twin needle on the inside of the garment, and that web of stitching would literally cover up that ripped inseam on the outside. You can't see the flaws on the outside this way. Then I flipped it over and I sewed down both sides of that center line. This way the patch fabric was really secure for the entire inseam. The patch fabric wanted to fray though, so I used pinking shears to cut near the stitching. These are scissors that have a zigzag-shaped blades, and they help prevent fraying. I cut as close as I could, being extremely careful not to cut the fabric of the shorts. On further inspection, I wanted a bit more reinforcement right over the inseam, so I added a double row of stitching over part of the inseam. This won't be visible where I went from 1 row to 2 rows, as it's in the crotch seam, but it added a little more strength where the fabric was weak. Since cover stitching is notorious for running if it's not secured down, I went over the ends of all my cover stitches with a little bit of zigzag on the basic sewing machine. If the ends are secured down, it prevents this from happening. So that's what the inside crotch seam looks like on the inside. And I pinked the edge. Basically, I cut it with that zigzag side, and that will keep it from fraying. It's stitched down. It won't fray past the stitching anyway. I got as close as I felt like I could without risking cutting the fabric, because if I cut the shorts, I would be in trouble. So I got close, but I didn't get right to the edge. My only concern at the end of this repair was the inseam was now a little bit thicker than the surrounding shorts fabric, which was really a lightweight, flexible fabric. So when I asked my client to wear them to make sure that he could not feel the repair. Changes in thickness can sometimes lead to chafing if it rubs in the wrong spot, and this wasn't something that I could accurately predict for this particular pair of shorts. Thankfully, that wasn't an issue this time. If you're enjoying any of my videos, please subscribe to my channel. It really does help me. Until next time, happy running.